Hi, it's 2 a.m., so I'm going to be talking a little quieter, but this video is more of a story on the concept of closure and its evolution in my mind over the last couple days. And it's going to be told about a friend I'll be referring to as Mason, and that is because that's Dipper's real name in Gravity Falls, but I'm not going to be able to take myself seriously if I keep saying Dipper. So just imagine him every time I say Mason. Glad we got that out of the way. So recently I went to my childhood home with this friend Mason, and I'd wanted to do this for a very long time with a friend, but I wasn't exactly sure why. Basically, I moved to a small town where I would continue high school when I was 14. And I had a lot of events happen between elementary and middle school that I had really mixed emotions about leaving this town because, it was all I ever knew. And also, it held so many upsetting things to me. So we took the long trip out, and part of me knows that a big part of the reason why I'd wanted to show somebody this neighborhood is because I wanted somebody to really understand and conceptualize the things that I had been through and that shaped me and my identity. And we got there, and I realized that I didn't want to talk about pretty much anything that we saw. I would talk about and say pretty mundane things about these places, but when we reached my house, which when the new owners moved into, they repainted and they put up a big fence, and it didn't feel like my house anymore. I forgot to even mention that that was my home, and you'd expect that to be the most important part. So we're walking further down the road, and I make a comment about my house, and Mason says, "Wait, we passed your house?" And I said, "Oh yeah, we did." And I hesitated going back because it wasn't that far, but I realized that ultimately it didn't matter to me anymore. Yeah, I still had a lot of feelings about this place, obviously, but I realized that other people didn't need to know about it anymore. I used to be somebody who would randomly kind of divulge all of their stories, and obviously that's because I hadn't been heard out in the time that they had happened, or during that period of my life. But I think for the first time, I felt no desire to share those externally. For the first time, I had no desire to kind of over explain in a lot of detail because it was something I physically had a repulsion towards doing. So we're sitting in the grass later, and we got coffee. We're a little bit away from the neighborhood, and this quote from BoJack Horseman about closure kind of always stood out to me because of this concept, right? That I had wanted to exist for myself for a very long time because of these events. And the quote is, closure is, well, Diane and Bojack are sitting somewhere, and Diane's dad just died. She had a tumultuous relationship with him, and she asks, "Do you believe in closure?" And Bojack says, "Closure is a made up thing by Steven Spielberg to sell movie tickets. It's like true love, and the Olympics, Munich Olympics, doesn't exist in the real world. The only thing to do now is just keep living forward." And I kind of lived by this quote, but I was curious what my personal opinion would be. And so obviously I pursued going to the neighborhood. So I asked Mason if he believes in closure. And he says he does. And I guess I realized in that moment that I also do. Because contrary to this quote, I realized that I didn't care anymore. That this place wasn't mine anymore. And the fact that I had no desire to explain my story told me that it's not who I am anymore, and it's not relevant to the person that I am today. Yes, it shaped me, but it's not integral to who I am, and people knowing that is not it's not the summation of who I am. And yeah, I don't know if this is obvious. It's just that house is not my house anymore. And so I have no reason to want to show it to anyone. And I was just thinking about that. And I figured instead of picking up my skin and ruminating on this, I should just record this and then go to bed. So, goodbye.